Paper Angels is a really lovely film, and I think there are two main reasons for that. The first is the narrative. It's a lovely story, and I will go into more detail, but spoiler-free in a moment. And the other reason is one of the protagonists, a character called Thomas. He's played by Rustin Gresiuk, and I just loved the character. I thought he was really, really great, and definitely made this a really beautiful film. It was released in 2014. It's directed by David Winning, and it's written by Bryar based on the book by Jimmy Wayne and Travis Thrasher. I haven't read the book. If anybody has and has any thoughts on that, please feel free to share. And this is about a mother and her two children, one of whom is Thomas, who in the opening scene flee her husband, their father. It's obviously an abusive relationship. We can see the mother has a bruise on her face, and then we immediately cut to their new life in the run-up to Christmas. And because the family have left everything behind, they don't have a lot. And the children put Christmas present wishes on a tree. They write their wishes on these paper angels. And obviously the purpose is for people in the community to select one of the angels and buy gifts for that child. And it's not about what the children want, though. It's not about what Thomas and his sister want. It's about what Thomas decides to do for other people. And this is while he's being bullied at school. And his character is just so wonderful. And I don't want to go into too much more detail about it, but it's all about, well, partly about hope, of starting a new life, of carving a new path and getting away from a dangerous situation. But it's also about doing things for other people, doing things solely to do good for others. And it's so beautifully told, and the story is so heartwarming. And we have a second family that we're focusing on, a husband and wife. They're expecting twins. They're going through a bit of a stressful time, and yet they still find time to do good for others. And it's so gorgeous. The narrative is so beautiful. The pacing is wonderful. The messages are gorgeous. I definitely got really emotional. There were a few points throughout it where I definitely felt like I was close to crying. And then it happened. At one point, it definitely happened. I won't say when or anything, but it's definitely a very moving film. Very uplifting, inspirational story. Wonderful characters, brilliant performances. Thomas is just a fantastic protagonist. I love the character. I love the narrative. There is nothing about this that didn't work. I think it's fabulous. There are a few tiny things here and there that seem like oversights, and they're such teeny tiny things that I'm nitpicking. I will give a couple of examples in a moment. They are spoilers, but in general, it is otherwise, I would say, a pretty perfect film. Absolutely fabulous. Thoroughly recommended. I will now mention a couple of things that I think were tiny, teeny oversights, but I am nitpicking. They're not really problems with the film, but these are spoilers for things that happen. For example, the first one, Thomas is writing the note on the computer to upload to his Facebook page, or not his Facebook page, but the page that was created to bully him. He writes the note and then walks away without logging off. We can still see on the computer screen he's left it up. That's never a good thing to do. He also said that he would leave his locker unlocked, and then immediately after, I'm pretty sure we see him locking his locker. It's hard to tell, but it looks like he's jiggling it to make sure it's locked. So that was an oversight. And then when he receives the gifts, he puts his hand in the bag to get one, and then his mother says, "Go on, then open them," while he's already getting them out. So I feel like there were a few tiny things here and there that made it a little bit sloppy, but I am literally nitpicking because everything else is so perfect. And honestly, I don't have any issues with it. There are just a couple of examples. There were things throughout it that were maybe not as smooth. For example, one of the twins was smaller than the other, and yet they were born and they're both basically exactly the same size. So again, that's just another tiny lack of attention to detail that I, as a viewer, picked up on quite quickly. So it's not perfect, but if you just step away from the teeny tiny things that don't really affect the overall enjoyment of the story or of the characters, then I think it's safe to say that Paper Angels is a pretty incredible film, and it's definitely worth watching.